Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni moni wanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jadley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very, very honored that you are joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show in the iHeartRadio app, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Joy VanDertuin. She is here to celebrate Giselle's Silly Soggy Day. Before we invite Joy into the studio, we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read to celebrate. Now, this doesn't happen very often. We recorded our interview with Joy well before she submitted her book to our panel for review. And sure enough, Giselle's Silly Soggy Day is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. This is the enduring story of a fat, fluffy, and silly little sheep named Gizelle. Gizelle was different from other sheep. She was never quite in step with the rest of her flock. She liked to explore the world around her, and she was not afraid to stand out from the other crowd of sheep. She loved climbing across the bridge to munch the juicy patch of grass. One sunny day in the spring, Gizelle was out for her adventure, but suddenly the weather changed. It started to rain and rain and rain. The heavy rain poured down on Gizelle, making her fleece wetter and heavier. Gizelle was afraid when thunder boomed and jagged lightning bolts lit up the sky and wanted to get back to the barn. Just when she was about to cross the bridge, she fell into the rushing creek. She tries to get up, but all of her efforts are in vain. Gizelle cried out for help. Will anybody hear her cries and come to her rescue? You can find out by reading the book. We love the book. We thought the illustrations were very well done, and no child will be disappointed with them, and you won't be either. We love the theme celebrating differences in the book. It makes kids want to accept others as well, and also accept the differences they see in themselves. We really love this book, Giselle's Silly Soggy Day, a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read by our guest, Joy VanDertuin. Joining us right now from the Fort Worth area in Texas. We are really excited to speak to our guest today. She's the author of Giselle's Silly Soggy Day. Please welcome to the show, Joy VanDertuin. Hey, Joy, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. We have a lot to talk about. First, tell us about Giselle's Silly Soggy Day, please.
Okay, well, Gizelle is based on true events that happened with one of our sheep named Gizelle. And she actually went out into the rain, and we thought that she was very sick because she would not get up. And it ended up, after calling the vet out, that it wasn't the case at all. It was that her fleece got so filled up with water, and she was so big anyway, that she couldn't get up. So he says, "Dad, there's nothing wrong with her. She's eating out of your hand, and she needs this fleece off of her." So my husband and myself and some of our kids and some friends came over, and we started cutting by hand the fleece off of her. We couldn't find anyone to shear her. The vet called, we called schools, and no one could shear her. So that was the only way to save her. And so in the process of doing that, I thought, no, this would be the best kids book, because people have to come together to help, and it's working together and making it successful for a good outcome. And it just kind of rattled in my head for a while, for actually several months, and then it just kind of came to me like, I want to do this. And then my cousin Michelle, she's also the writer of Gizelle. She is a writer, and she wanted to make some changes, and she said, I told her, I said, you want to do a kid's book? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, really? She goes, yeah, let's do it. I said, hey, that sounds great. Let's do it. And so together we worked together on it. And the thing that's really, I didn't really think of it until Gizelle was all done, is Michelle and I grew up somewhat the same. We have common things, but we have so many things that are different from us. But yet we came together and we worked together to make this book happen. And the book is about friendship, learning to work together, I think is like a really big main thing. And children need to learn that very, very young in age. Our kids learned that very young. And a good example of that was just recently one of our horses went down, and both these boys now are in their 30s, but one of the boys came down the driveway. It was his horse, and he jumped over the fence, and this horse was literally minutes worth of not being here anymore. And the other boy, I should say young man, helped him. And I mean, there was no, I'm not doing this. No, do it yourself. None of this. I mean, it was like one said one, the other one did whatever, and it was done and taken care of, and he was saved. And he's doing incredible. So it's all about working together, and it's something that we believe that kids need to learn at a very young age.
Well, it is. It's really interesting. I've had the opportunity to speak to titans of industry, CEOs of huge multinational companies, and the one thing that they all shared with me is that they can teach almost anybody how to do the different jobs that need to be done within their company. The thing that they can't teach is how to get along and how to work together. That if somebody comes to them as an adult and they don't have those skills, there's nothing they can do, and there's no way that person is going to really contribute to the company. So it sounds like something that is get along, work together. That kids learn that naturally. It's instinctual. It's not instinctual. It's something we need to talk to kids about and help them.
Absolutely. That is a taught thing. They have to learn, some of our kids, different things that they've come across and stuff, it's just like, you got to let this stuff, some of these things, just let it roll off your back and don't take it so personal. And you're going to come across people that are going to give you a hard time, and you just need to learn to work with them. And, when they realize you're willing to work and that work goes together with the two of them, I think everybody has an ability to contribute to anything. And it just requires both sides being willing to do so. Again, with Michelle and I, we're so different, but with her being able to do one part and me being able to do another part of the book, we were able to put it together, and that's what it took. Mm-hmm. It was just like, there's one thing, I think the only thing in the book that I was like, I don't know, was Gizelle having blue eyes. And our illustrator, Kimberly, she did the blue eyes. And I was like, I don't know, because I'm so like, no, she don't have blue eyes, But Michelle says, Joy, I really like the blue eyes. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go for it. So it's those compromises and those, let's work together. And, it's not all my thing. It's not all your thing. We'll work together on it to make it right.
Well, as somebody who has blue eyes, I love the fact that Gizelle has blue eyes.
Well, mine are green. So close. They used to be blue, but yeah. And the blue eyes, I think, makes Gizelle. I mean, I think it's awesome. And she does, like, it sticks out and it makes her.
Well, when you started to mention, Gizelle, it was raining and Gizelle couldn't get up, I kind of had a feeling it was because of the fleece. But what a great story, and how much fun could a parent have reading that story and asking kids as you're reading, just kind of pausing, why do you think Gizelle can't get up? What do you think is the problem? Oh my goodness. And just having that conversation right there in the middle of the story would be an awful lot of fun. And I can just hear the laughter in my imagination when you turn the page and you find out that Gizelle couldn't get up because she had a too wet coat.
Right. Yes. We've had people respond back to us with with pictures and stuff, and kids are just laughing like hysterically. I had one little boy come and visit me because he wanted to see where Gizelle lived. And, I took him out to the barn and stuff, and he just thought that it was the funniest thing because we just went into the imagination of a kid. Children's books, I have more children's books than I have grown-up books. And I love kids' books. And we told our illustrator that we wanted the book to be funny and be silly, and the kids be able to relate to it. And when a 2 or 3 year old would pick a book up and look at it, that they can kind of get what's going on just by looking at the pictures. So we use some, different animals, like snakes and frogs and stuff like that, to be able to squeeze the water out of Giselle's fleece. And so it was a lot of imagination, but it was funny. Like my cousin and I, we were laughing so hard, creating what the pictures were going to look like, because, Kimberly needed to have detailed of each page what they're going to look like. And we had so much fun, and we were laughing so hard we were literally crying because of the pictures and what they look like. So yeah, it is a funny, silly book.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And yet teaches a story, teaches a lesson.
That is wonderful. One of the reasons I imagine you have so many children's books around your house, not only do you love them, but you had a need for them. You've adopted a number of children over the years.
That's correct. We have 3 biological sons. Our 3 oldest boys are biological. And we have 10 adopted children. It was nothing that was planned. It was just one of those things that happened. And yes, we have a lot of books. I read to my kids so much. And in the morning time, it was just like a normal thing. The kids would go to school, and I'd say, go pick out some books. And we would read 3, 4 books, and we would discuss and talk about the pictures and what the story was throughout the books. Again, before they went to lay down for naps, we did the same thing. Before they went to bed, we had another story. We have one boy that when he's now in almost 30, but he had meningitis, and it turned into encephalitis, therapized, very, very sick. And he lost a lot of his ability to talk and different things like that. He had to regain it all. And I read to him constantly read to him. And the kids say it's so heartwarming to hear them as adults say, Mom, I really remember you reading to us. And that was like our favorite part of childhood and growing up, was sitting on the couch reading. So yes, we have a lot of kids' books.
That's really beautiful. First, I want to take a moment to thank you for adopting these kids. There's such a need. I know we've had Dr. John DeGarmo on the program talking about the foster care system. I think he's very close to you as to the number of kids he adopted and fostered over the years. I know, I think I remember the statistic correctly, that there's over, I think there's 160,000 kids in the foster care system. No, excuse me, over 400,000 kids in the foster care system. So there's a lot of need out there. And thank you for stepping up and providing a home and a family for those kids.
Well, God gave us a mission, and we just did what He said. And it was, these kids have taught us so much. They're all different races. They've come with all different circumstances. Some were health, some were emotional, and we have learned so much from them. And I hopefully have taught them, that my husband and I have taught them, that the world can really be good, and that it takes a part of everybody and everything to come together. And, it's been a pleasure being their mom. Like, I feel very honored to be their mom.
Yeah. If you could share with us just for a moment, because I'm imagining there might be a person listening out there who has a couple of kids and they're thinking to themselves, oh, boy, I can barely take care of the kids that I have, but there's such a need out there. I don't know where I'll be able to get the energy. I don't know where we'll be able to get the money we need. I don't know if I'll be able to love a child that wasn't my biological child. What would you say to that person who sees these barriers but really wants to help?
Well, I could only really speak for myself because everybody has their own ways of thinking. For us, it was financially, there's always a way around it. I could tell you that. If they want it to happen, it's going to happen. So there's always a way around it. As far as loving another child, we never had any problem with that. Like, we had kids come to us sometimes 6 months apart, 8 months. We'd have 2 in diapers, 2 or 3 in high chairs, different things like that. And it became a norm to where it was normal for us. Of course, not for anybody else, but for us, it was very normal. And when an agency would call us, we didn't apply. We only applied for a couple of the adoptions. The other ones, the agencies heard that we would take special need and minority children, and they called us and they would offer us children. And no, we did not take all of them, because people would say, well, do you take everybody? And no, because not everybody fits into your home. You got to think it out. If a particular child, and you could feel it in your heart, whether it's right or not, and you do have to think about it. But it became very normal to, like, the bottles didn't get put away and another baby would come in, that baby fit right in, and there's always enough love. If you've got love in your heart, there's always enough love. Chances are that you're going to have situations where it's going to take more than just love. And love does a lot, but there's also situations that need to be addressed and taken care of, as well as the love. Yeah. So, anyone that is willing to adopt or even look into it and see what if it's something for them, I would start with that. Is our first daughter came from Korea, and she is 36 now, I think. And she, at that time, Korean adoptions were the thing to do. And I was just at a friend's house, and I picked up a magazine that was about Korean adoptions. And that's what kind of sparked my interest. I thought, hey, that would be such a neat thing to do. We already had 3 boys. We wanted a girl. Why not make it a sure thing? And so we just start checking into it. And as you check into it, I think you start realizing whether this works for you or doesn't work for you. I think you just get a feel of that. So that's what I would recommend is check into it and see if it's something that's for you. Most of the children from the state, our last 3, came through the state, and there is no adoption fee. So, there's, like I said, there's different ways around it, as far as different things like that, as far as concerns.
Wow. It's a beautiful thing that your family did, and we're really appreciative of that. So you mentioned that you've read to all of those kids. So you've read thousands of books. Was there one book in particular that was a favorite of all of your kids?
One of my sons loved Golden Bear when he was little, to where he could just repeat it. Like, I didn't even have to look at the pages. You just read it. Bernstein's Bears was a big one. Let me think. The one, what is it called? The one with all the food that grows. I can't think of what it's called. With all the big food that falls out of the sky. They love that one. I don't know, Bernstein Bears really sticks in my head a lot. Like, we did a lot of Bernstein Bear ones.
Excellent. Now, as you sit down and you think back about all the joy that you had reading to your kids and the memories that your now adult kids have of you reading to them, have you taken a moment to sit and think that there are other families that are going to have the same joy and experience and memories that were created reading Giselle's Silly Soggy Day?
Oh, that was kind of like a main thing, because I think that thought process was in Michelle and I's in our head before we even really started. It was like, we want this to be something that kids are going to really hook on and really love. And the parents are going to get the message out of it to be able to teach the kids. So, I think the pictures alone, I absolutely love the pictures. Our illustrator is so incredible with all the bright colors, and that was a big thing, bright. We wanted bright colors to, for the kids to look at and be drawn to. So yes, absolutely. Like of course you have dreams that Giselle could be a whole series, and maybe it could be like Bernstein Bears or Clifford the Dog. That's another one. Clifford the Dog. We like that one. And, Curious George was another one. So, we would love to do more Giselles, and for people, for families and children to love her, adventures and what she will go through.
Well, wonderful. Well, I know people are going to want to know where they can go to find out more about Giselle's Silly Soggy Day and find out more about you.
Well, you can go to Amazon, and it's all right there.
Awesome. We've had a great time speaking to one of the authors of Giselle's Silly Soggy Day, Joy VanDertuin. Hey, Joy, thank you so much for being part of our show.
Thank you, Jed. I appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. It's a really, really powerful episode. Scarlett Lewis is on the program. She founded a movement called the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Movement. Scarlett is the mom of Jessie Lewis, one of the victims of the Sandy Hook shooting that happened in Sandy Hook, Connecticut many years ago. She's here to tell us how she turned that tragedy into a movement that is spreading kindness, compassion, and love throughout the world. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Earlier in the show, you heard me announce that Joy VanDertuin's Giselle's Silly Soggy Day is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. If you are the author of a fantastic children's book, we would love to help you tell the world all about it. And our Reading with Your Kids certified great read program is a wonderful way to do that. If our panel believes that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a certified great read. And with that status comes a number of really powerful promotional tools that can help you let people know that your book is worthy of their consideration and really help your book stand out from the crowd of books that are published every single month. Did you know there are literally thousands of books published every single month? Not every year, every month, thousands of books published. It's really, really hard to stand out. We can help you. Check it out today. Go to readingwithyourkids.com, click on the author's click here button at the top of the page, scroll on down to certified great reads. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, Joy VanDertuin. Please be sure to check out Giselle's Silly Soggy Day. Also want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan, Michael Murphy, Rory Brady. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.